Hi, Shane here from ITTN, and I'm back with another coffee break. This time we're sitting down with Peter Green from Visit Malta, and he's going to talk to us about Malta, Gozo, and the opportunity that you have to get one of 8 places on board an exclusive fam. Hi Peter, usually when we talk you update us on all things Malta, but today we're going to discuss a little bit more about the beautiful island of Gozo.
Yes, yeah, it's our beautiful little sister island, I suppose. You know, I mean, I personally love Gozo. It's one of my probably favorite locations around the archipelago. And like for me personally, that when you get that ferry over and you're rolling into Mjar and you've got the church up on the hill and you know you can just see the town spreading up. You've got the rolling green hill. It's just beautiful. It really, really is. And I like to describe it as kind of taking a step back 50 years, you know, it's kind of modern, but it's not rushed in a sense, and it's still got that kind of like authentic kind of rustic charm in a way as well, which I adore. So yeah, I love Gozo. I think anyone should always go to Gozo.
Definitely, and the thing that kind of struck me was how easy it was to get there with the ferry and how frequent it is.
Yeah, I mean, so traditionally we've always had the ferry from the north up in Chirkawa, which takes 25 minutes. You pay on return, which is nice and easy. So if you're staying like a week in Gozo, you can literally get the ferry over and just pay that one way on the way back. And it takes 25 minutes, as I say, and even during the summer, they just shuttle back and forth. You know, so there's constantly one always going, and that's a passenger and a car ferry. So if you've rented a car, you can even drive onto the ferry. You don't have to pre-book it, and you're straight over. But we now also have the fast ferry from Valletta, which is a bit more modern, like comfy seats, you know, Wi-Fi on board. It's almost like this sort of like catamaran-y kind of style, and that's €15 return, but that's just a passenger ferry. So obviously when you get on the other side, you've got to, you know, use the public transport, which is easily available, or hire a car over on Gozo. So you've now got the 2 options depending on where you're staying on the island. It's fantastic.
Brilliant. And with that kind of that fast ferry you mentioned, is that something you have to pre-book, or can you just kind of stroll on down?
No, you can just rock up and stroll on. I was there over New Year's, and I took my friends over to Camino, and that's what we did. We went over to Gozo first, had a little look around, and then went from Gozo to Camino. We just literally got a taxi straight through to the other side of Valletta on the Grand Harbour side. Rocked up, you paid one way on the way there, one way on the way back, and you can even, if you're feeling really fancy, you can even upgrade to club class for an extra €3, which is very, very nice. You know, mood lighting, and you get your own little private booth, and you know, you've got these like shades on the window that you can roll up and down. It's great. It's a fantastic little experience.
And so when you kind of say get over to Gozo, are there many kind of resorts on the island?
I wouldn't say resorts as such of like, you know, obviously on the main island of Malta, you know, we've got Budjaba, we've got Slima, which are kind of made to kind of, you know, have everything that you need. Gozo is much more about the authentic village aspect. So you've got these picturesque, quaint little villages that you can walk around in, you know. All the locals will be there. You might see the odd tourist or so, but it's much more about an exploring island. And when you're staying there, the offering is slightly different as well. So you've got a couple of hotels who are much more sort of, I like to call them haven based. You know, you sit in the hotels, you've got the manicured gardens, you've got the luxury sprawling kind of grounds, and then you can go out and explore from there. Or you can stay in a couple of options in the centre of Victoria, which is the capital of Gozo. So you've got a couple of different options there in terms of the actual accommodations you stay in. One of the ones that's really, really popular and that we've kind of seen blossom over the past couple of years is the sort of villa and farmhouse product. So, you know, going over and staying self-catering, you know, having your own private pool, having your own sort of accommodation, and then especially for people that hire cars, you know, parking up, it's almost like your own house. And again, it's that homely aspect. And that's probably how I would describe Gozo, is it's very, very homely. The people of Gozo are so friendly and so welcoming. You know, so even out there, you will not feel like a tourist, you feel like a local. And that goes from, you know, the people that you meet, to the food that you eat, to the sights that you see. It's all very holistic and very authentic.
Brilliant. It's like that. I think I was speaking to a few guys over in Malta a while back, and they were saying to me, it's very similar to, you know, when you come over and you stay in Dublin and you go out west to the kind of the countryside. It's a similar kind of a vibe to that.
Yeah, and I completely agree. It's like up in Scotland, you know, obviously you're Irish, I'm Scottish, you know, getting away from Glasgow, getting away from Edinburgh and going up into the Highlands, and, you know, that village charm, that village, everyone knows everyone, you know, you're walking down the street and, you know, it's not like in London where you're walking down the street and no one looks at each other, you know, you're walking through the street and people are like, oh, hi, you know, you say good morning, you say bonjour, you know, it is very, very, you know, very warm. I as I say, that's one of the reasons I probably love it. It's just that kind of personal aspect that it gives you.
Great. And in terms of, say, things to do, I know it's kind of very outdoors focused, and kind of soft adventure type things are very popular.
Massively. I mean, probably the first one would be the scuba diving aspect. Gozo is very good for your scuba diving. It excels probably around even the central Mediterranean. So you're talking, sunken World War II plane wrecks, you've got sunken tugboats, you've got, the Jelendi Tunnel, which is this like 28-meter long tunnel that you can dive through. You've got the cave systems that you can dive in. So the scuba diving there is fantastic and second to none. Alongside that, you've then got things like your segways, your e-bikes, or your biking across the trails. You've got your quad bikes, your jeep tours, even things like your just general hiking and walking to get around, and again joining the cliffs, things like Tassench Cliffs and Sanap Cliffs, very beautiful to go along, and kind of like reminds me of kind of the west coast of Ireland a little bit, those dramatic cliff tops which are very stunning. And even sort of like the wellness offering that's popped up, so things like yoga and meditation resorts, they've become along very strongly in Gozo. So there's something for everyone in terms of your level of activity. So whether you want to do the faster kind of more adrenaline paced things, or you go on to that more soft core activities.
Yeah, no, you definitely kind of whetted our appetite for that. And I was going to say, for any agents out there that are kind of keen to kind of visit and experience Gozo, we've got a brilliant competition coming up.
I mean, we like to look after. I mean, the agents are the cornerstone of kind of the tourism industry. Without them, I wouldn't even have a job without them. So we need to them, and we need to show them a good time as well. So yeah, I'm going to be seeing you again very soon. So we are going to be recording a live webinar on the 8th of March, having a little talk about all things Gozo. And during that webinar, we're going to be pitching a few questions to the agents for a spot on a fam trip to come out to Gozo. So we're actually going to do 2 nights in Gozo and do 2 nights in the main island of Malta as well. So it's a great way to kind of see both aspects of it and experience what you can get from Gozo from an overnight stay. And I believe the winners are going to get announced end of March roughly, so we'll give them a few weeks to kind of catch up and watch it, and then the fam trip's going to be going at the start of May again. I think it's about the 4th to the 8th of May, but again the dates, but certainly that start of May aspect.
Yeah, absolutely. So guys, if you want to keep an eye on the comments and the text below this video, we'll have details on how you can sign up for the live webinar to get a chance to, I suppose, gain access to this exclusive fam that we have running with Peter and the team at Visit Malta.
Yeah, it's gonna be great, and it'll be a big thank you as well to Visit Gozo and the Gozo Tourism Authority. They've been excellent behind the scenes in kind of helping us to get this on board. So it'll be good to have the guys come out and meet them as well, and really speak to a real Gozitan. Never call a Gozitan a Maltese. It's kind of like calling a Scotsman an Englishman. You never do that. So yeah, come out and experience the Gozitan sort of warmth, hospitality, the food, the wine. Some of the activities as well. I know when we went last year and we did the adventure stuff, that was probably one of the highlights of the trip that we did last year. So yeah, very much looking forward to it. And I can't wait to welcome some of the agents over from Ireland too.
Brilliant. Thanks so much, Peter, for taking the time out, and I look forward to catching up with you again on the 8th of March.
Yeah, I'll see you in a couple of weeks. Thank you, Shane.